Christopher Columbus. A junior certificate People and History by Exam Learn.
Christopher Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy in 1451. Genoa had an important maritime tradition with the sea, and Columbus grew up inspired by the journeys of famous explorers such as Marco Polo. And like most people at the time, Columbus believed that the world was round rather than flat. His dream was to travel westward and reach Cathay and Cipangu, which we now know as China and Japan. Using maps made by a fellow Italian man called Toscanelli, Columbus estimated these countries were 4,000 kilometers away. Columbus was not a particularly well-off man, and so how was he going to fund this voyage? Well, he did so by seeking sponsorship from European leaders. These leaders sponsored such voyages as they were desperately trying to be the first to find newfound lands that they could claim. John II of Portugal was the obvious choice, as he was known for sponsoring such voyages, but he turned Columbus down as he was more interested in finding a route to the Spice Islands. Columbus's next best shot was the King of England, but again he was rejected. He then turned to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain, who initially rejected him as they were busy fighting the Moors in Africa. However, just as Columbus was losing hope, Spain defeated the Moors and King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella agreed to sponsor Columbus's voyage. He was given 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta and the Santa Maria, as well as 90 crew members. The voyage set sail on the 3rd of August 1492 from Palos, Spain. The first stop off was the Canary Islands to pick up some fresh supplies. Columbus and his men were really heading into uncharted territory, and they faced many fears such as falling off the face of the earth, getting diseases or even being attacked by sea monsters. Sailors kept logbooks to record these voyages, and in fact because Columbus's men were so scared he made 2 logbooks. One being the real one, and the other being an exaggerated one to make the nervous sailors feel like they were closer to land than they really were. After sailing for almost 70 days, and just before giving up and turning back, the crew arrived at San Salvador and famously placed a crucifix on the beach. Columbus believed he had arrived in India, and so he called the natives Indians, but in actual fact he had just discovered what we now know as America. On Christmas Day 1942 Columbus returned to Spain. The Santa Maria was destroyed and so not all of the crew could fit on the 2 boats home. He was forced to leave 40 men behind on the island of Hispaniola and promised to return. They built shelter for themselves using the boat wreckage. Columbus brought parrots, pineapples, maize and a couple of natives back with him to show everyone. On returning home he was given the title Admiral of the Ocean and was named Governor of the Newfound Lands. Columbus returned and brought Spanish people with him in order to set up sugarcane companies and to explore all the islands. Columbus searched for years, but to his despair he never found the great cities of Asia. Unfortunately, his desire to find these famous cities led him to become a very cruel man. He killed and abused many natives, and as a result he was stripped of his title as governor and sent back to Spain in chains. He died in 1506 a very unhappy man.